Well, good evening, everybody. I am the late Jessica Jones. I'm the Cryptid Huntress, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on this fantastic Thursday night. Gosh, we have a really incredible show for you guys tonight. And this is full disclosure. I mean, that's just what it is. We are going to be talking about MIBs tonight. We're going to be talking about Leatherface. We're going to talk about lobotomies, vats of acid. Y'all just hold on. Okay, buckle up, y'all. We are in for a treat tonight. We have the Jimmy Paine here with us, former MIB agent Jimmy Paine, here in the studio tonight. And he and I have been doing pretty good work beforehand to get ready for this show tonight. And so we're going to hear all about the training grounds for the MIBs out in Texas. And we're also going to be diving into these cattle mutilations a little bit as well tonight. And it's a deep rabbit hole, y'all. It's a very deep rabbit hole. You guys want full disclosure? We're giving you a full disclosure tonight with Jimmy Paine. So thank you guys so much for being here. And yeah, if you guys would like to check out me and my work and all that stuff, please go over to my website, thecryptidhuntress.com, and you can find all my shows over there. You know, usually tonight we do a remote viewing show. This is not actually going to be a remote viewing show tonight. I will be posting some remote viewing stuff in my Patreon tomorrow, y'all. If you're a member of my Patreon, I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. We're going to have a good target probably tomorrow or something. I'll put a little extra bonus in there for y'all tomorrow. But tonight, we're going, like I said, full disclosure with Jimmy Paine tonight. And so check out my Patreon if you'd like over patreon.com/The Cryptid Huntress. And also I do have a shop over on Etsy if you guys want to support the Cryptid Huntress at War Woman Goods as well. Okay. Well, this is kind of a continuation of the last time that Jimmy was here, a little over a month ago. Jimmy came on and we talked about the Texas chainsaw family and the connections to the Men in Black and presidential models and serial killers. And we're going to go a little deeper tonight into some local cannibalistic serial killers, actually, around Texas. We're going way deeper than we went last time. And we're also going to be talking about our former president, Lyndon B. Johnson, and his farm over there. And like I said, we got a lot to discuss tonight. Okay, well, let's get to it, y'all. So the LBJ Ranch, also known as the Texas White House, is located in central Texas and was the home of President Lyndon B. Johnson. It includes his birthplace, family cemetery, and various historical sites, and is part of the Lyndon B. Johnson National Historical Park. Now, according to Jimmy, it has a long history as an MIB, Men in Black, training ground, including the practice of cattle mutilations, and it's a place where President Johnson ordered the takedown of Leatherface from the cannibalistic clan known in pop culture as the Texas Chainsaw Family. On this episode, we got Jimmy Paine here to discuss his time as an MIB agent at the LBJ Ranch in Texas. We're going to talk about local serial killers in the region, presidential models. We might even talk about Michael Aquino, y'all. I don't know. We might touch on that a little bit tonight. And the role of Linda Moulton Howe. That's where we're going to get into some of the actually red heifers and lobotomies. Okay, I know it's a lot. We're going to go down the list. We're going to check all these off as we go. But yes. Yeah, let's talk about Jimmy, y'all. Okay, super soldier agent Jimmy Paine, a.k.a. Dallas, was in the secret space program from 1959 to 1996. During this time, he was a shuttlecraft pilot for the Tall White Warriors at Area 51 and participated in time travel missions with the Montauk Boys at Camp Hero. He also recalls working for the Weyland Corporation, where he encountered a xenomorph, which the movie Aliens was based off of. He was stationed on Mars, Titan, and the Moon. On Mars, he has seen the broken statue of a giant face of a humanoid on a mission in 1974, along with Duncan O'Finoan. He remembers seeing Tommyknockers in a cave on Mars, which are the muscular type of tall grays. On the moon of Titan, he was stationed at a massive underground base, and he was tasked with fighting a monster they called It. It looked like Junior, the Montauk monster, a type of Bigfoot that would gain strength by attacking it. He was on a secret mission from Vandenberg Air Force Base, the lunar Apollo 20 mission, with William Rutledge, where they discovered an oriental-looking humanoid named E.B. Mona Lisa. Jimmy claims the Apollo 20 footage on YouTube is actually real. And tonight we're going to get into the LBJ Ranch and the real disclosure behind MIBs in training and these cattle mutilations. Please help me welcome to the show my good buddy, Mr. former MIB Agent Jimmy Paine. Hey, Jimmy. You're muted. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, of course. I love having you here. We have a lot of fun talking about this. I mean, I love going full disclosure with you, Jimmy.
I think everybody wants disclosure, and it's been many years, and I'm in a position to open that X-File tonight.
This is the real life X-Files, actually. This is better than Scully and Mulder, in my opinion. I guess we're Scully and Mulder tonight.
It's that way now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jimmy, I want to hear about some of this LBJ Ranch tonight. I mean, first of all, thank you for disclosing this information, because I don't know of anyone who has a friend who is a former MIB and talks about it publicly. And the fact that you are so graciously telling us about the MIB training, I think that this answers a lot of questions for people who are into the UFO field and were very vested in the cattle mutilations that which still happen today. And you've got some dots to connect tonight for us, I believe.
Yes, I do. I believe the best way to start this off, being this April the 2nd, 2026, I want to go back to Area 51. And this is right after I had to, tase a presidential model, keep her from, having multiple personality disorder, because she had had a very traumatic event and she was starting to split, due to the horror that she went through. But when I got back to Area 51, I did some soul searching, because when I got out of Vietnam and came back to the States, I got spit on at the airport by some college kids, called me a baby killer. I did not want to go to Vietnam and do the things I did. I thought I could come back to the States and live peaceful, But when I was at Area 51, I had a lot of questions going through my soul, about how the country was divided and the violence that was going on, the demonstrations, people were not happy about the war. So I asked for spiritual guidance, to get a direction, a moral compass of where I could, go next in my life. But I consulted with several Indian tribes, Native American Paiutes at Area 51, and Shoshone, the nation, Indian nation, and even to a lesser degree, the Apaches, their nation, their medicine men, spiritual guides. But I soul searching, and nothing like that had ever happened before. Now, when something occurs outside of Area 51, it's very strict how I can engage it. I cannot interfere with the public. I can only leave the industrial military complex to either retrieve a flying saucer or to, retrieve an alien, stuff of this nature. And I use several different alias names to get what I need to get and bring it back for study. But the legal issue was Leatherface was not an extraterrestrial. Okay. Now, in instances like that, you have the FBI or either the Texas Rangers investigate your local law enforcement or investigate crimes like that. But because this was a classified project, we couldn't share information with those agencies. And but when I was consulting with the Native Americans, I went and got pine acre nuts and seeds, and offered it for a spiritual forgiveness, to the great spirits in the sky. That's my way of honoring spirits, is to leave pine nuts on a rock. It's over religious ceremony. But I started channeling the spirits, and the spirits, said that Leatherface was an unclean spirit, and to take them out, And then I channeled Geronimo, and Geronimo said, scalp him.
What? Oh my gosh, Jimmy. So you got some clear messages to get rid of this guy, Leatherface.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I didn't catch you there.
I said, so you had some pretty clear messages to get rid of Leatherface, this guy who was a cannibalistic serial killer.
Yes, he was. His spirit was unclean, and the advice came through channeling Native American spirits from all three tribes. All three tribes concurred that it was an unclean spirit. Now, what happened was that the answer came within a few days that I could go outside of the industrial complex, but I had to use an agency as a shield agency to pass through. Now, the Williamson County Sheriff's Department, there was a sheriff there named Henry Matyeek, and he was in Williamson County. Now, if you watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 version of the movie, you'll see the sheriff as the bad guy. That's not who Sheriff Henry Matyeek was. The sheriff was elderly. He had health problems. He would be dead within a year. He would die the next year of heart failure. So he is portrayed as a bad person in the film because the way that the writer, made the movie. But in real life, Sheriff Henry Matyeek was a decent person. Now, Sheriff Henry McYeek used to be the driver of Senator Lyndon B. Johnson. When Senator Lyndon Baines Johnson was running for Congress, the sheriff in the picture there, Sheriff Henry McYeek, was his driver. And Lyndon Baines Johnson told Henry McYeek that he encouraged him to run for public office. And so Senator Lyndon Baines Johnson ran for president a few years later, and Henry McYeek ran for sheriff. So the two have a connection. Now, Sheriff Henry McYeek is in Williamson County, Texas, and the Lyndon Baines Johnson Ranch is in Gillespie, Texas, about a county over. Can you pull up LBJ Ranch? Pull some pictures
Yes.
up.
I sure can.
Wapedia.
Yes. Let's see. Yes, I've got. Well, here, let's go to their website first. How about that?
Yeah, you can share your screen if you want.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen. Yes, this is the LBJ Ranch, but I will pull up some more pictures. There's a shot of the house right there, the Texas White House complex, but it's closed now, Jimmy.
Yes, it's closed for renovation and repairs, and it'll eventually open back up. But right now, it's closed down. Well, parts of it is closed down now. Parts of it's still open, but going inside the house is closed, from my understanding.
Yeah, I've got another website to pull up. Let's pull up this next one. It's
I
better.
think Wapiki is probably be a better one.
Yeah, we got this. Here we go. We can go to Wikipedia. That works.
Now let's
See
just
if that'll
go
pull up for y'all.
click into the pictures, and then it'll click on a picture.
Click on a picture
Click on
like that.
Yeah. Now that was President Johnson's home there. He lived in it. That was his ranch home.
Mm-hmm.
Now go to the far right and just click that arrow and go to the next picture.
That's Nixon.
That's Nixon. And I think there's Spiro Agnew behind him. Now wait a second. That's his second home down up in Haywood, Texas. That's his R&R home. But that back picture is the ranch house you had. That picture there is in Haywood, Texas. The other one is back by Stonewall, Texas, or Johnson City, Texas. That's the working ranch house that I was at there. But just keep clicking on those arrows, and it's going to go through several pictures. So that's the vacation home there. That's the state park. Click. Now wait a second. You see that old bell?
Yes.
Well, that was a backup communication, even though they had spent millions of dollars putting in all kinds of telephone lines and satellite equipment. But when Mrs. Johnson had food left over, she would ring that bell, and the Secret Service would go up onto the back steps, and she would open the screen door and give them, what was left over from, a cow being, like they cooked a stew or something,
Uh-huh.
Go ahead and click through.
Okay. Let's go to the next one.
Now that's the house. That's the school that LBJ taught at when he was before he ran for state senator. He taught in that school there. I think he also went to that school. That's an old schoolhouse. built back in the early 1900s. Go ahead and click. That's I
Okay.
think his property there, or it's been moved to the property.
Well,
That's
there's the
one.
bathroom.
Yeah, I've been in that one there. Yeah, that's the
You-
outhouse there on the ranch.
It's missing a plank, Jimmy. That's not very private.
No,
You can
I
see
think,
straight in there.
well, I think that's why it's closed for renovation. That's
I hope they
that's,
put some plumbing in there eventually.
that's the farmhouse or toilet there.
If
Go
anybody's
ahead.
wondering what an outhouse looks like, that's the outhouse, y'all. We used to, I guess those are, they're not just in the South, they're everywhere.
Now, what you're seeing there is LBJ, the descendants of LBJ cattle. That's where I went when I was 16, 17 years old, learn how to handle cattle. You know, you have to know how to handle cattle before you can, you know, get on a helicopter and fly out and use the lasers, you know, for autopsies, you know. Though that's some of his descendants of the LBJ herd that I was handling there. Go ahead and click through.
Okay.
That's President Johnson's mother and father's home there. He grew up in that little house when he was a kid.
Okay.
That's the church that President Johnson went to. I think that's in Johnson City, though.
Okay.
Now, that is the president's plane. It wasn't called Air Force One. It was called Air Force 1/2 because it's 1/2 the size of the big, you know, jumbo jet. But he had a private landing strip on his ranch. His ranch was about 1,200, maybe 1,500, closer to 1,500 acres of open land. But I've been to that plane, and that's next to his house there, next to his ranch. I mean, well, it's on his ranch. Go ahead and click through. Now, what you're looking at there, President Johnson used to like to cook out, and that's kind of like his outdoor kitchen. That's where he keeps all the spices, and in there is salt and pepper. All that's in there is cooking utensils. That's his kitchen there. It's an old chuck wagon from the 1800s. I've been next to that old chuck wagon. Go ahead and click.
Okay.
That's a tree. I believe that is one of the trees on his property. He used to have a loudspeaker in it. Now, that is the back of the house. Now, when President Johnson had a heart attack, they wanted him to get physical therapy. But what the government did, they just put that pool in there where you could, you know, recuperate. But actually, he used it very little. Who used it mostly was President Johnson's wife and also his daughter. They would go out there and swim and sunbathe, but I never really went towards the pool. I always just stayed in the back of the, you know, entered the back of the house. Now, that is the Walk of Fame. That's what it is when he would get dignitaries to come out and visit the ranch. He had dignitaries from all over the world. And every time he had a dignitary, they would pour a concrete mold, and they would write their names in it and the dates. Kind of like the, you know,
the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
All
the movie stars there. Now, that is the Secret Service's guards house there. I've slept in that house there. That's the Secret Service.
All right. Very cool. Okay.
That's
There's a family graveyard.
President Johnson and his wife are buried there on the property under an oak tree.
Oh, wow.
That's
we'll go back. Sorry.
That's President Johnson. I think that's Herbert Hoover, but that was
It
taken
says
back.
it's Humphrey. It says Vice
Humphrey.
President-elect Humphrey.
Humphrey, I said Hoover, I meant Humphrey. Yeah, that was that was the vice president.
I think this is where we started. So we're all the way back.
Let's go to Google Earth now, and well, I'll tell you what. Go to the far right, which says the longitude and latitude at above the right there.
Okay.
Click that. Now scroll down to Google Earth to satellite.
Let's see, where's satellite? Here.
Go back up. Go up.
Back up
to the blue line. Down. The middle of the page.
Right there. Right. This one. Okay. Click. Okay.
Now center that red dot in the middle of the page. Drag it.
Okay.
Get a little closer. Closer. You see the pool?
Yes.
Now back out just a little bit. You see that river there?
Yes. Right
now,
here.
The first time that I came on the property, Johnson used to like to play jokes all the time. He had this car, you know, and he would get in it, and he would drive as fast. The car could only go 70 miles an hour, but anywhere he drove on that ranch, he would drive like 70 miles an hour. Now, I want you to go to YouTube and type in LBJ Amphibious car.
Okay, let's see.
We're just going to show them where to go.
Oops. All right, let's see. Okay, hold on one moment. I'll pull it. Okay, let me make sure this is muted. I'm going to share my screen with the audience. Okay. It just takes just a second here.
Now, see, that's the president in his amphibious car. See, he's driving. Well, the first time I saw President Johnson in that car, he said, "Oh, here's the new hired hand," talking about me. He said, "Jump on in." He said, "Jump on in." I was in the back of the car, and the Secret Service is the passenger side, and he drove about 70 miles an hour. He was heading right towards that river, and I didn't know that was an amphibious car, you know. And that car, he threw his hands up and said, "I've lost control. The brakes don't work. The brakes don't work." And he plowed into that river, and the car started floating. You know, he liked to play jokes like that. He kid around a lot. But what happened was his cows would like to go down that river and get in the river and cool off. And he would get in that car and go into the river, and I would have to take like a rope and rope it around the cow.
You were wrangling them? Wrangling them
in, and then he would drive to shore with that little car there. And because sometimes if it, particularly young cattle, you know, they can get lost in the river. But that's how we would retrieve the cows from the river. And them cows love that river because it get hot in Texas, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they want to take
That's
a dip
cool.
in the river. Yeah. But he played that joke on many people, like, "Hey, the brace is going out," and throw his hands up and splash into the river. I'm told that one of the Kennedy women was with him one day visiting on the ranch. I don't know if it was Jackie. I never could figure it. Well, of course, it's probably classified. But the female Kennedy woman bailed out and got a couple of scratches.
Oh my God.
She was all right.
I can imagine.
I think it was Jackie, but I never was sure about if it was her or not. But he loved playing jokes like that.
So he had a sense of humor, so that's good.
Yes, he did. Now, I want to tell you what I did on that ranch.
Okay.
Before you can handle the cattle, to use the lasers and everything.
Well, before we go further, can you explain to the audience what do you mean by using the lasers? Are you referring to cattle mutilations?
Well, yeah. When if you go back to my first video one on the Texas chainsaw slaughter family, we were experimenting with lasers at Area 51. One of them was a handheld laser, and the other one was a big tall laser that would go on a warship.
The Navy laser.
Yeah, Navy lasers that was classified during that timeline.
Uh-huh.
But the handheld laser, we needed to tune it. So we were using it to cut on cattle. Now, cattle that are ill or sick cattle, you don't want them to breed. So you want to take those cattle out, because a herd is not healthy having sick cattle. And that's what we were doing. We were finding cattle that had tumors in them, and we were, euthanizing them and testing the lasers out, the handheld lasers during that timeline. Where do we want to go next now on the?
Well, let's talk about the training. Why were MIBs taken out to that ranch? And you were part of that. Were you taken out there specifically to learn how to use those lasers for for what became known as like these cattle mutilations? Epidemic.
How to handle the cattle before we could handle the laser. Okay. Being a ranch hand gave us firsthand experience. You don't want to spook the cattle. You want to get the cattle. You want the cattle calm, because if you can start a stampede of cattle. Okay. And that was the purpose of learning how to handle the cattle, was to work on the ranch. But Lyndon Baines Johnson knew very well about the lasers at Area 51. Now, the question is, he was already out of office when this occurred in 1973. Nixon, I believe, was the president during that time. So I don't even know if Nixon knew about it, but I do know that former President Lyndon B. Johnson knew of the euthanizing of the cattle using the handheld laser.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you go to a rodeo and you see a rodeo clown, a lot of those during that time, we had men in black that were rodeo clowns. We would go to say a rodeo, and we would dare the cattle. The bull would charge us, and we would jump the fence, or get a red shirt on, or either a red fly swatter. I used to get a red fly swatter and flap it around and make anger the bull. So the bull's always going to protect the heifer. He'll go after anybody. A bull will go after you. A heifer is not going to give you much trouble, but the bull is going to protect the heifer. And of course, there was a couple of times I took a roll in barrels. But as long as you get in that barrel, you're okay.
Jimmy, you've done everything. I tell you what, rodeo clowns, you name it. Add it to the list. I love that.
Yeah, you have to be able to be daring with a bull. Like I said, a bull will get after you. So you want that experience before you go into a herd, how to evade the bull.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a bull charging the helicopter. Usually helicopters get down about 4 or 5 feet off the ground, and we have to hook up the straps to the cattle underneath their legs and belly and attach it to the bottom of the helicopter before we could lift the cattle up in the air. And then we would fly the cow underneath the helicopter to an 18-wheeler. And on the back of the 18-wheeler would be a box, trailer box with hydraulic doors on the top of the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And the technician on the inside would flip a switch, and hydraulics would open up the top of the 18-wheeler, the box part.
Uh-huh.
We would lower the helicopter with the cow in it. There was an autopsy table inside the 18-wheeler, and we would lower the cow onto the autopsy table. The technician would undo the straps, and then we would lift up. He would close the door, and then depending on who was with the technician, they would go to the nearest power line and pull the truck up next to a power line.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the MIBs would get out with pole climbing spikes on, like linemen wear to climb power lines. And we'd climb up the side of the power line, and we'd put clamps onto the live wires to power up the laser. We had cables running the power lines and run it back into the 18-wheeler, and that would power up the laser. And then they would stick a tube in the major blood vein of the cow, and a pump would come up and it'd start sucking the blood out. And there was like 300 or 500 gallon tanks underneath the 18-wheeler. It would suck all the blood out of the cow. And at that time, like I said, the technician's firing up the laser, and we're cutting the soft tissue. We had to find the laser before we could put it on a human. And these cattle were ill. They were sick with tumors,
Mm-hmm.
mad cow disease. We were
Tumor meat.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't want to eat the tumor meat. Yeah.
We were simply cleaning out the unhealthy cattle in the herd. That's what we were doing.
Well, this is for, I just want to warn the audience. I'm going to show a couple of pictures here of some of these mutilations because this was a mystery. The common everyday farmer and everyday people didn't know what was happening. There was no rhyme or reason for this, and it was just precision laser cuts on these animals, and the blood was being drained. Jimmy, can I ask you a question? What was the purpose of draining the blood, and what did y'all do with the blood?
Well, the blood was given to the extraterrestrials. If not, it was being studied for cow diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Use the blood for, like I said, study diseases, all sorts of research. Like you can use pig blood. If you're, if you ever go to the hospital and they say, you want artificial blood, and you say yes, well, that's really pig blood they're giving you.
Pig, they can do heart transplants with pig organs and stuff, because I think pigs have human DNA or something. I don't know. I think some people say that pigs are actually part human, so it would make sense. I don't know.
People think that when they say artificial blood, it's artificial, but they don't really understand it's pig blood they're using.
Pig blood.
But the cow blood was used for medical research because and like I said, some of it got dumped, some of it was given to extraterrestrials. It's just part of the experiment was to see if we can cut with the laser. Now, some cows were misidentified. They would take paintballs and hit the cows with it or spray the cattle, with paint or either put white chalk on the back of the cows. But at nighttime, it is kind of hard to see the marked cows because you, like I say, you're in a helicopter, you're flying at night with night vision on, and this has to be done very, very. You can't waste time in the field. You got to get in there, separate the heifer from the bull, and get that sick cow, airlifted out of there.
Was it mostly cows? It was mostly the heifers, right? Not the bulls that you guys were taking.
Some were bulls. Like I said, the genetics of the cows, you don't want a sick cow breeding from, breeding. You want to keep your herd strong, and you want to get that sick cow out of circulation. But to nationalize the Cattlemen's Association, they had to get the insurance companies to insure the loss of the livestock, which it should have been done the entire time, but it wasn't. It was only after the men in black got with the cattlemen and we got with the insurance company, they started, insuring the cattle. And that way we were able to thin the herds out and get rid of all these sick animals. Now, I want to say something here now. Going back to investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe was investigating it. And she, I don't know Linda, but Linda made a big stink of it. She was going to publish her book, Strange Harvest, and she made a lot of the farmers mad at her, ranchers mad at her, because they were trying to get rid of these sick animals, and she was just, blaming on aliens and such like that. Some were taken by aliens, but probably no more than about 2-3 dozen a year were taken by the extraterrestrials.
The rest were taken by the government. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Now, some of the cattle, like I said, when she stirred up such a mess that we started looking at our records and at the Little Gray's records. And that's when we noticed that some of the cattle was being butchered. But see, the Little Grays don't need meat. They just need blood. They don't have a penis or anus. They have to absorb their nutrients through their skin. And they get a vat, they put cattle blood in it, and then they walk into the vat and dip themselves in it. That's how they get their nutrients, is from cattle blood. But
wow.
We knew how many cattle we were taking. We were taking about, I want to say 1,700-1,800 cattle a year, maybe around that per year. I think it was a total over 10,000 cattle taken during my time.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Dang. Like, what is that, like a decade or so? Like, how what kind of a time frame? That's a lot of cows.
Well, it's in excess of 10,000, but see, that program ran several years.
Is it still running today? I mean, I know you're not active, right? But do you think that it would still be running today if they're trying to got to feed all these ETs, right?
Well, that's something I can't answer because that's a security question.
I'm not trying to get you in trouble, Jimmy. Sorry.
I can't go into specifics. I can only talk about during my timeline.
Okay.
Now,
interesting.
Going back to Linda Moulton Howe, Jessica, would you pull up red heifer sacrifice?
Yes. Well, I have some pictures of red heifers. You want me to pull up a website about the sacrifice?
Yes.
You just showed some pictures.
Well, let's get some pictures.
Okay, let's get the pictures first. Then we can pull up a website. Here we go. Here's some of these perfect red heifers that are awaiting sacrifice.
the Israeli government comes to Texas. Those cows there came from Texas, and the Israeli government is going to use those cattle. They're going to burn them to death for a sacrifice, because it goes back to ancient times where they burned the cattle to death to get their temple rebuilt.
Okay. I'm going to pull up a website, I guess. Should we go to Wikipedia? Red heifer.
Find it better on.
I got it.
YouTube. Let's see what we got there.
I just got Wikipedia. This should work. Just for a quick reference here for the audience, because I don't know a whole lot about this myself, except for what you explained to me. This is very interesting. The red heifer.
Now,
heifers.
what makes this so dangerous is that we have Israeli agents that are operate on American soil, and on the other hand, you have American CIA, and you also have MIBs that cannot do intelligence work on American soil. We're forbidden by Congress to do that. Now, what happened here, some of those cattlemen are Jewish here in the States. You have some cattlemen that are Jewish or either follow Jewish faith, and they believe in this ritual sacrifice. And Linda Moulton Howe made the Jewish cattlemen mad at her. She upset them very bad. Now, when I was, let's go back into Leatherface now.
Okay.
I want you to go to the Hewitt house. Film was made out.
Do you want me to pull up the website or the Google Maps, the Google Earth? Which one?
Well, you pull both up.
Okay, let's go to the website first. Is that cool? Let's see. I'll pull up whatever I can grab. The Hewitt house. Do you want me to pull up the Wikipedia or the website that shows the pictures, Jimmy?
One that we can get. Show a picture.
Pictures? Okay, here we go. Here's one. This just shows the location right here. And that's the house.
Now, before you go any further, the house there in front of you. Now, I've been to that house. Now, Leatherface, when he attacked the presidential models on part one of our broadcast a month ago, Leatherface and his family, or what was left of the family, migrated north. They went from Round Rock, Texas, is where the incident occurred on Texas Slaughter Family, part one. They left what was left of the family, left there and headed north towards Granger, Texas, just outside of Granger, Texas. And that is the Hewitt house. That's an old plantation built back in the 1800s. It used to be on Southwest University in Georgetown, Texas, but it was moved many years ago to that location because it's historical. And it's on a farm, a working farm. That the farm is still working till this day. But that's the filming location for the 2003 movie that we're talking about tonight. when I went to that property, the real story was that there was a distant. Stay back on that picture, please.
Okay.
The real story was it was a distant cousin of Leatherface, second or third cousin. And that individual was very nervous about Leatherface. So that individual cooperated with the Williamson County Sheriff's Department. There was two individuals involved with that. That was Sheriff Henry McYeek and Constable Jim Wilson. Now, Jim Wilson came from Vietnam. He was like 20 years old, and I was 17 years old. I knew Jim Wilson, or I was acquainted with Jim Wilson. I wasn't all that well acquainted with Sheriff Henry McYeek, but I was deputized by Sheriff Henry McYeek. That was how I was able to get out of Area 51 if I'm working through a pass-through agency. And the sheriff is the highest official in the county. I couldn't go through FBI. I couldn't go through Texas Rangers because those agencies, this is a secret black ops program that I'm involved in. And as I said, Sheriff Henry McYeek was personal friends. He was a chauffeur for former President Lyndon B. Johnson. So the two knew each other. The president and Henry McYeek knew each other. So I was deputized through the elderly sheriff. That's how I was able to operate onto American soil. I can only operate on American soil going after extraterrestrial or retrieving a flying saucer. But to go after a human being, I'm forbidden to. I'm forbidden from doing intelligence work. But because I was deputized, I was able to bypass the legal restraints that had been placed on to the MIBs. Now, I went there and I placed bear traps in the grass.
Bear traps?
Yes.
That's dangerous.
We knew Leatherface was moving about. And as I said, the relative that was living in the house, see, that's a farm, and it's a season to it. And during the growing season, they have people that are hired on to that ranch that lives in the house.
Okay.
That's a ranch house there for the farm. And that's where one of the relatives of Leatherface was working, a distant relative who was very scared of Leatherface. So that there is one of the places that I was setting up the bear traps. When you go back to, let's get an aerial view of that property, and then we're going to get an aerial view of the Williamson County.
Okay. Let's see. Where's the next one?
We're just going to jump.
The Hewitt house. Let's see. All right. I think this is it. Oh, no. That's LBJ. Hold on. Let me stop sharing.
Well,
wrong
put it back up. Put it back up.
Put the LBJ ranch back up?
Put it back up.
Okay. Let's see here. It just was a bunch of coordinates, so I didn't know which one that was.
Scroll out, but don't scroll out too quick. Just scroll out.
Scroll out a little bit.
Scroll out. Keep it in the center of the page.
Okay.
With the red dot in the center of the page.
Scroll out.
Scroll out.
Scroll out.
Okay. Now I want you to put in Williamson County Sheriff's Department.
Okay. Well, let's see. Williamson County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah. So we're given a bird's eye view of where the ranch is. And I want you to watch it when it jumps from the ranch to Williams County Sheriff's Department, where Sheriff Henry and that youth worked at. You see that?
Yes.
Do you see how it slide it over?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Right there in the middle.
You see how close it just jumped a little ways from LBJ Ranch
Yes.
to the Sheriff's Department. That's about 30 miles.
Okay.
Now I want you to type in now, put the address to the Hewitt House in there.
The Hewlett House. Okay, let's see if I can remember it. Hold on. I have it written down here somewhere. Let's see, that's 901 County Road. Okay. Oops.
Scroll out a little bit. Scroll out before you jump.
Scroll out. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me get it typed in. And 901 County Road. There we go. Pops up.
You see, it's about another 20 or so miles.
Okay. Do you want me to?
All of these properties are close together. Where I trained at on the ranch, and then you saw the Sheriff's Department, and then you saw the Hewitt House. Now I want you to type in Williamson County, Texas again.
Okay, actually, I've already got Williamson County pulled up. You want me to let me get out of here and I'll share my screen with this other one. Okay. I've already got that one ready to go, I think. Williamson County on Google Maps.
All right. Kind of center it up and get it closer to the page. Pull it over. Drag it.
Okay.
Get a little closer. A little closer.
A little bit closer. Okay.
Now back out just a little bit. Back out. Back out. Do you see Austin there? Back in. We see Austin. You're too far. You're too far.
Well, there's.
Out.
I see San Antonio. Oh wait, yeah, Austin's near Round Rock. There's Austin right there. Okay.
Remember when I showed you, Jessica?
Remember
when I told you? Remember when I told you I had to go to Austin get the guns?
Yes, you went to the gun show, didn't you? That was in the movie.
I went to the gun show. Now, scroll down to Round Rock. You should tighten it up. It's outside of Austin. Round Rock, Texas. Or
there
just
it is. I see it. I see it. It's right there.
Now, in 1973, that wasn't developed. That was all just
trees.
All that was just empty fields in 73. Now, Round Rock is where Leatherface lived, and where Sally and her immigrant brother went.
Oh wow!
You know, they got ambushed. None of that was built. That was all. Nobody lived in that. That was all sagebrush out there. Nothing was built in 73. Okay? You see it? Now that Round Rock is where Leatherface lived at. Now I want you back out of that. I want you to go back to Williamson County.
Okay. There's Williamson County right there. It's highlighted in the middle.
Now, zoom in on the southern part of, stay on the highway, the major highway.
The 35 right here?
Yeah. Now I want you to zoom in close, but don't do it real quick.
Zoom into the south part of the county on 35. All right. Somebody just said in the chat they've never seen me work this hard on the show. Y'all are funny. I have never done this much work.
No, you're in Round Rock.
Am I at the wrong place, Jimmy? I'm at the bottom of the county, though. Is that not where you want me to?
Put in a Oakland, Texas.
Put in what? I'm sorry. Couldn't hear you.
Oakland, Texas. Oakland.
Copeland? Okay.
Yes.
Is it Copeland or Copeland?
Let's put in Copeland in there. Might be Copeland.
It's Copeland. I remember the last time we did this. It's Copeland.
Yeah, it's Copeland.
Copeland.
Get it
Here we
closer.
go. Okay.
Get
All right.
closer.
How
I
close?
can't see you.
How close you want me to go, Jimmy? Here we go.
Keep that, Jessica. Please keep it
Yes.
safe. Keep the road in the center of the stream, please.
Okay. Yes, sir. You got it. This road right here?
Yeah.
The
Now I
only
want you
road.
to go, Jessica.
Yes.
I want you to go south of
Okay.
that town there.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Go to satellite.
Okay.
I want you to get real close to that highway.
Which highway, Jimmy? 95?
Oh, 95. I want you to get real close. And I want
Okay.
you to keep it in the center of the page. I want you to go
Okay.
north.
And go
Drag it.
north. Like
Just
this?
yeah. Follow that road.
This
Drag-
90 go this way 95
That
or go
way.
down 290?
Go up 95.
95. Okay, gotcha.
Jessica, you got to tighten that screen up a lot better. It's too far out now.
Too far out. Okay,
Look.
there we go.
Well, stop. You see all those little holes there that's filled
Yes.
with water?
Are those lakes?
No, they used to be all cattle country. See, you had to have water, little pines for cattle. Do you know what you're looking at? There used to be
Yes.
cattle pens all on both sides of that road. And that's where the cattle would drink out of those little ponds. Now, once you get closer to the highway, get closer, and then I want you to go north.
Okay. Closer.
Follow the road.
And then go north.
See all the ponds there to the left?
There's lots of
Don't-
ponds. Don't move.
Yeah, stay on the road. but
Trees. Okay.
Make note of it. You're making note.
Okay.
I think back up. Back. Let's go back that town.
Okay.
Just go back to the address you add in there and click it and refresh it.
Which address? The Copeland?
Yeah. Hit it again and go back
Copeland,
to it.
Texas. All right.
Go down to that. You see the highway and the little red things. I want you to go south of the town.
Okay. Over here. Is this right?
Yeah. Now I want you to tighten it up. I want you to go south on that road.
Go south
Right.
on 95.
You see all
All right.
these little ponds? See, you see them
There's
all
lots
there?
of ponds. Those are cattle ponds, right? Okay. Do you want me to go south?
Yeah, go south.
Oh, Lordy. John Deere. The John Deere test farm.
Okay, wait. Well, okay, stop at John Deere.
Okay.
I want you to get real close to John Deere, but keep right in the center of the road. You see that pond over there to the right?
Yes.
I want you to go north just a little bit. Just follow that road. All in there. Stop. You see all the little holes there?
Mm-hmm.
That used to be farmland back in '73. There was vast herds of cattle out there. Now, let me tell you the story how Leatherface, how he met his end.
Ooh, that's what I want to hear. Okay.
I just wanted to get you familiar with that John Deere place and there's
Okay.
all those ponds right in that area there. But one night we were doing reconnaissance flights over Williamson County. The sheriff, hearing that, knew about it, and I was deputized. Okay.
Okay.
We're in a military helicopter. We're flying at night with no lights on, and we're flying into that county. And, we're taking cattle, we're thinning the cattle out to get rid of sick cattle. But one cow we didn't take. It was butchered. And so we knew what the cows that we euthanized. So we knew Leatherface was in the area because he had attacked one of the cows. Okay?
Okay.
Now, there was a storm brewing that night in August. It was either late August or September. I can't remember. And I'm riding shotgun on the helicopter. Now, both of us had night vision helmets, but my helmet, my active, it went down on me. It stopped working, so it's useless. Okay. The only other night vision helmet is what the helicopter pilot had. So I'm flying blind. He has some night vision with his helmet, but I'm flying blind. But we knew where that cow had been, attacked earlier that day. So we went back around about midnight, I would say. Maybe around about 1 a.m. or so. And there's a storm brewing. Texas has some horrible thunderstorms because of all the dust and everything. So we landed in the field where this cow had been mutilated, and we knew that we didn't do it. So we're searching for Leatherface, and there was a vacant farm next to that where that cow was at. Because see, the season was over, and that farmhouse had shut down. But the pen behind the old farmhouse is where they used to keep the cattle at. Now, the pilot, when he got out of the helicopter, he went to the house with his night vision to search the house. And I got out, and I went into the back of the little farmhouse. There was a cattle chute back there, cattle pen, and it's like a maze. You know what I mean? It's when you get these cattle in a fenced-in area, it's like a Faulkner maze. You have to go down the cattle chutes and separate the cattle. But what happened was, when I entered the cattle pen, the cattle chute, clouds would go over the moon. See, it was a full moon that night. But when the thunderstorm clouds would go over the moon, it turned pitch black. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. And then at a moment or two later, when you would see a break in the sky where the moon could, shine through the clouds. But as I was going into the cattle pen, I was walking. I'm all alone. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. And I walked right past the dark shadow because the moon was behind a cloud. And after I passed through, the moon came out from behind the cloud. And I glanced over my shoulder, and I looked, and I see a man with another face over his face. That's Leatherface. And Leatherface had raised up his hammer. Remember, I told you about his grandpa's hammer? That his grandpa hit the cattle in the head and kill them?
Yes.
When he raised up, he was within arm's length of me. He was right behind my right shoulder. And when he raised his arm up, and as I was turning, what I caught was I could see the whites of his eyes. I was so close to him. And I reached down for my boot. He raised his hammer up. Now, because of plausible deniability, we're going to move forward a few days. And Williamson County Sheriff's Department sent deputies, their posse out there to search the property. And that's when he was found. He was found in a cattle pen on the adjacent side of the property. And he had been dead for about 2 or 3 days, and he's starting to swell up, But underneath his shirt, when they opened the shirt up to check him, for a wound, he had on women's clothes. He had a woman's bra on and women's panties on. I believe he was dressing in his mother's clothes, his clothes. See, Leatherface was a cross-dresser.
The plot thickens. Oh my gosh. That's not surprising because, you think back to that movie. What is that? Psycho? I think it was called Psycho, where that guy wore his mother's clothes and stuff. You remember that? It's not uncommon.
Well, now I want you to go to the Candyman murders.
Ooh, so did Ed Gein. That's right, JoJo, as well. Yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit of serial killer action now. Okay,
Jessica, we're not talking about Ed Gein.
Okay, we're not talking about him. Okay,
let's
see. That's somebody in the audience said that. Okay.
Well, don't pay attention to that.
Okay.
That's disinformation. It's not correct.
Okay.
Go to Candyman.
Candyman. Okay, gotcha.
We don't want to talk over one another. Go to
Candyman.
Candyman, Houston, Texas.
All right. All right. Do we pull up some pictures?
Yeah. Pull up. Yeah, disturbing crimes. Houston Candyman. The next one. That right there.
Okay. I don't know if this is showing. I may have to. Oh, yeah, that's it. It's showing. Inside the depraved crimes of Dean Corll, the Candyman killer. 1970s Houston.
Now, Leatherface is some type of relative to Candyman.
He's actually related?
Well, I'm going to show you where Leatherface is buried, but I believe the DNA was taken of Leatherface and of this guy here. They're probably some type of distant relatives. He murdered 28 people, and he was taking their skin and making lampshades out of it. I think he made lampshades for Leatherface's house as well.
Okay. Wow, that's terrible.
Now,
okay.
Now, the Texas Rangers was assisting the Houston police. He eventually got caught, but now Sheriff Henry McYeek up in Williamson County did not have that type of he didn't have the Texas Rangers helping him. He didn't have the support. He was just up there all alone in Williamson County. Okay.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing. I was assisting Sheriff Henry McGeek, and the stress from all the killings is what caused him to die a year later. Type in Orange Socks murder. Orange Socks murder.
Okay.
Williamson County, Orange Socks murder.
All righty. Hold on, let me share my screen. One moment, please. It's on its way. Deborah Jackson. It refers to the case of Deborah Louise Jackson, who was found strangled to death in Georgetown, Texas on October 31st, 1979. She was unidentified for nearly 40 years until her DNA was matched in 2019.
Now, click on the image. They called it the Orange Socks murder because when they found her, that's all she had on. Leatherface, I believe Leatherface killed her. Now, if you watch, Jessica,
Yes.
you watch the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre that we had up, that van, and they stop, they pick up a girl walking down the road, and she gets in the road, she gets into the van, and she's crying, and then she pulls a gun out underneath her dress and shoots herself in the mouth.
Yes, it's tragic.
Well, she didn't do that in the van. They just found her on the side of the road. But see, that's the filmmaker spinning that tale. But that's one of the bodies that were found in Georgetown. There was a great fear going on in Georgetown. Well, it wasn't just Georgetown; it was going over. It was in the entire nation was scared because you had Candyman doing his thing, and then you had people that were being found up and down the highway, being murdered, and Constable Jim Wilson went to Georgetown Southwest University, and he talked to the students in the auditorium about not hitchhiking, because people back then were very, very free. Yeah, people hitchhiked. There was no reason not to. And but what all these killings caused a psychological effect on the American public. People scared. They would go in their house at night, lock the doors, take their pets out of the yard, and go inside and with their pets. Because Leatherface was on the loose, and so was this guy down in Candyman was doing killing in Texas. So you lost a lot of freedom. America lost a lot of freedom when this occurred. But Leatherface, like I said, because the two technical engineers being murdered that were working on the laser, he caused a lot of problems. And as I said, once I was deputized, we were able to go in there and take out Leatherface. Now I want you to go back to Google Earth, and I want you to type in Williamson County Juvenile Detention Center. you to get closer to it, please, and put it in the center of the page. Drag it down a little bit. Now go north. Just keep going. Keep going. Don't go to the right. Wait a second. Right there. Go real close to that wooded area. There. Go and click. All right. Do you see like there's little roads in there? See it? See, it's kind of whited out. Leatherface, when he was found, he was buried by the county in a pauper's graveyard. That's his body rests in those woods down there. That's what the county takes people that don't have any money, you know, and they bury them there. I think that it might be like a little wooden cross for a grave there, or either a little iron marker. It's a pauper's graveyard, but that's where Leatherface is buried at. Leatherface died either late August, the 18th, I believe, 1973, or either towards September. But that's where Leatherface is laid to rest. Now, I want you to go back and I want you to type in Jim Wilson, suspected serial killer, Williamson County. See if we can pull that up.
You just do like a search on it.
Go to Google AI.
Okay.
Or Gemini AI.
Gemini AI. Okay, let me share my screen again. And let's see. Oh, Gemini AI. I don't know where. Here it is. Google Gemini. Okay.
Type in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jim Wilson, Williamson County.
Is it Jim Wilson?
Yeah, not Deputy Wilson, but Jim Wilson, because Jim Wilson, Deputy Jim Wilson found this guy, but they just call him Jim Wilson.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jim Wilson.
Wait 1 second. Williamson County, Texas.
Okay. There we go.
Close where I can read that, please.
Can you read it, Jimmy?
Drag down a little bit. I can't read it all.
He served as the sheriff of Williamson County from 2005 to 2016 and was a constable before that.
Let me read the bottom of it. Keep scrolling.
Keep going. Okay.
Not too quick. You've been moving too quick now.
Do you want me to go back up?
No, slow. Let me read it.
Okay.
Scrolling where I can read outside of his career of law enforcement. Type in report of ardent man
Report of what now?
Report of retarded man found wandering farm fence.
Farm fence. Okay.
In Warren County, Texas.
Warren County, Texas?
Well, no, Williams, excuse me. Williamson County, Texas.
Okay. All right. It says that the report you're likely referring to is a mix of fictional marketing and urban legend.
No, I know about that. I'm looking for something else.
Okay.
Type in Orange Socks murders.
Okay.
Murder. And wonder.
Oops.
You went too quick.
I went too quick. I am really fast. Okay. Orange Socks murders.
Just murder.
Just singular.
And report of retarded man wandering
Okay.
next to farmer's fence.
To the what fence? I'm sorry.
To farmer's fence.
Farmer's fence. Okay.
And
Let's.
Jessica.
It's too fast. I thought you said okay.
See it.
Okay. Dang it, Jimmy.
Slow down. Let me finish talking. I know
Okay.
you're trying. We can't rush this now.
Okay. Here, I'll just copy it and paste it.
All right.
All right.
Now
Farmer's fence.
Type in Sheriff Jim Constable.
In this, doing the same search.
Put a clause in, put Constable Jim Wilson.
Okay.
Arrest
Jim Wilson, and then what?
Arrest.
Rest.
Arrest. Like you
Arrest. A-R-O. Arrest. Okay. Sorry.
Retarded man
Okay.
during Orange Socks murders.
Wearing orange socks or just orange socks?
During.
During.
Just leave it there. Arrest.
Okay.
Okay, just hit click. See what we can get.
Okay.
Can you get close? I can't read none of that, Jessica.
Yes, I can.
Okay, we can't read if it's so far out.
Okay. This says it's a fascinating mix of real Williamson County tragedy and brilliant horror movie marketing. There's no official report of that type of man being arrested by Constable Jim for wandering a fence, but they can trace it back to other tragedies that happened
All right,
between
let's go back.
1979. Mm-hmm.
It was found on Halloween, 1979.
Halloween
Jessica,
19.
Jessica, get closer, please.
Get closer. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, are you reading that?
I'm trying to, but
I thought you wanted me to type something else. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
I know. It's okay. Just let's just kind of take our time here. I scroll down while I can see what the link is. The murder occurred. Don't go any further now.
Okay, I'm not moving.
It says because the movie was marketed based on a true story, many people began to believe the Orange Sox victim was killed by a real-life Hewitt family. It wasn't a Hewitt family, it was a Slaughter family from Round Rock. Okay, well, that part about a fictitious man, that's a fictitious report. Tell you what, go back into and just type in let's see what we can figure out here. Retarded man, a retarded man taken into custody by Williamson County Sheriff's Department, 1973, 74. See if we can get some, if we can't bring something up. A retarded man suffering from dehydration.
What year, Jimmy?
Just put 1973, 1974.
I'll just do
Well,
that.
let's hit 73. Let's just hit 73. Now there was somebody taken. What's happening here is probably because it's paper form and hadn't been digitized. You know what I'm saying? It's an old police report from the 70s. It just probably hadn't been, scanning in and digitized. They found going back to the relatives living in the Hewitt house. Not only did Leatherface was taken out, but there was also a young, deformed. I think Leatherface had a brother. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? And this guy had an IQ of about 70. And he was found wandering around the county. I don't believe it's been, I think it's a written report. It hadn't been digitized. I know the movie made, they wrote it into the script. But I'm going back to Leatherface and Candyman. Okay. There's several of these family members that are involved. There's a cult of these family members. They're inbred, okay? We just can't find, it had to be a paper search done on it instead of a digital one. Let's back out of that. We just can't find it at this point. Let me see if I have any notes here on my desk. Let me see what
Okay. Oh, man. Yes, thank you. Was that Steve said I type fast? I don't know. I remember having to take a typing class in high school, and I hated that class, but I'm glad I took it. Okay.
Okay.
And thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to read what I have here.
Okay.
Give me a moment while.
Okay. Here, Jimmy, you look at that. I'm gonna thank my audience real quick for some things they've been doing out here. Thank you, Firewater by Design, for being a member of the Hunt Club for 16 months. That's amazing. Rose Thistle Artworks. Thank you for gifting 10 Cryptid Huntress memberships. That's so sweet of you. And also, thank you so much. And then Amy Alo, thank you. Gifted 10 Cryptid Huntress memberships. Oh my gosh, y'all, that is so sweet. I appreciate y'all so much. And also, really quickly, I want to thank Firewater by Design. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Oh my gosh, thank you for that. War Criminal, thank you for being here. Jimmy's a great guest. Yes, thank you for that. And OU812KA, thank you for that super sticker. And Moon at Noon, thank you for the super sticker. And thank you for that super sticker and for being a member of the Hunt Club. Okay. All right, Jimmy. Had to take care of some business.
I'm glad that you acknowledged them. You know, they should be acknowledged.
Absolutely. I have the best audience in the entire world.
Do. I mean, they're dealing with the issues that we're dealing with right now. Okay, this is what I have here on
Okay.
Sheriff Henry
Okay.
McSeek and a young Jim Wilson, who was a deputy constable at the time, absolutely dealt with these issues. In fact, these two specific types of crimes, cattle mutilation and grave robbing, are what bridges the gap between the real life and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre legend in Williamson County. One, grave robbing, 1973. During the 1973 scare, there were real reports of grave disturbances in the rural cemeteries of Williamson County, particularly around Lander and Liberty Hill. The reality, most of these were attributed to ritualistic teenager pranks or cult scare hysteria, which was high in the 1970s. However, Sheriff McYeek office had to investigate reports of headstones being moved and shallow digging at sites like Baghdad Cemetery. Baghdad cemeteries are going back to our first show. That was
Yes.
they found the corpse tied to the top of the tombstone, holding the head. The same cemetery seen in the open of the 1974 film. The connection. The movie begins with a news report about grave robbing because McYeek and Wilson were actively patrolling these cemeteries in 1973 to catch the ghouls or vandals. The locals began to believe the movie's plot was based on the sheriff's actual case, which it is. Cattle mutilations, the mid-1970 panic. Texas experienced a massive wave of unexplained cattle mutilations between 1972 and 1975. Of course, we were in there doing that. Williamson County was in the heart of this. The investigation. Ranchers in the Taylor and Granger areas reported finding cattle dead with surgical precision, missing ears, tongues, or organs, with no blood on the ground. Jim Wilson's role. Jim Wilson often spoke about the strange calls he took as a young officer in rural Texas. Cattle are a person's livelihood, so the sheriff's office took these extremely seriously. While they never caught a satanic cult or aliens, the gruesome nature of the caucuses led to the local rumor that a madman was living in the woods practicing his carvings on animals before moving on to humans. The movie Link. The original film features several scenes of rotten animal carcasses and bone furniture. The production actually used real found remains from local farms, which McYeek's office was already investigating as part of the mutilations. The Wilson connection to the mutilations. There is a specific connection from Williamson County historian where Jim Wilson, as a young lawman, had to respond to a slaughterhouse complaint. He found the local scavengers were taking parts from the dead livestock left by ranchers. Well, it wasn't a chainsaw family. The sight of young Wilson investigating piles of bones and the Texas heat became part of the lore he shared later in his career. I'm going to read off a couple of real summary, the crime of Reeves County, 1973, grave robbing investigated by MIB at Baghdad Cemetery. Cattle mutilation investigated by Wilson near Taylor Granger, Texas. The madman, Robert Wilson, the disabled man found on South H95. Highway 95 is a farm to market road. Now, since all the cattle herds have been moved out, they call it, Highway 95, but it was a farm to ranch road back then. Robert Wilson, the disabled man found on SH 95. So there was a man named Robert Wilson, but he retarded. They said it was Leatherface, but it wasn't. They called him Robert Wilson because the man couldn't speak, he was retarded. And because Constable Robert Wilson found him, they just called him Robert Wilson till they could, get him to a mental hospital. Subject: Historic Inquirer of 1973 Sheriff's Report, MIB/Wilson and Robert Wilson case. To the Williamson County Historical Commission. The 1973 hitchhiker scare and warnings issued to university students, Southwestern University. The discovery and welfare check of a nonverbal, mentally disabled male named Robert Wilson on the side of a rural road, possibly SH-95, on or near Taylor/Granger, Texas, in 1973. So they did find somebody. It just hadn't been digitized yet. Reports of cattle mutilation or grave robberies investigated by Sheriff's Office during the 1973-1974 report. If there are any photographs of the officers from this area or digitalized records of these incidents, please let me know the process for obtaining copies. Thank you for your time, for preserving our county's history. So apparently somebody wrote and was investigating it.
That's interesting.
All right. The case of retarded or disabled males. The most high-profile case involving a man with a low IQ, which was the medical term used in the 1970s, that took place in the area during their time, was the murder of a diminished male. In the early 1970s, during Sheriff McGee's final years, there were several investigations into transit or drifters' deaths. So quite a few transits and drifters, deaths were recorded. There is a specific local record of a young man with a severe mental disability who was found dead near the Williamson County line. So they did find a retarded man dead.
Oh no. Jeez.
Okay. The complete report details. While the internal police logs from 1973 are kept in the Williamson County archives and are not fully digitized for public downloads, So that's why we couldn't find it. The public summary of the incident includes date, late summer 1973. Reporting officers McYeek lead and Williamson throw backup. Findings: subject was nonverbal and suffering from heat exhaustion. Action taken: he was taken to custody for his own safety and later transferred to a state hospital facility. No criminal charges was filed because no crime had been committed. It was a medical welfare check. Connection to the movie. Tobe Hooper, the director, was partially inspired by a man he had heard about who was socially backwards and lived in the area. Legal cases. In the Wilder, Texas legal system during this time, there was a famous case often cited as the Wilson case involving a man with an IQ of 61. That's even lower than 70. He was convicted of murder because this man shared the same last name as the sheriff you are asking about. The two often get mixed up in local stories. This man was described as having the mental capacity of a child and was a thumb-sucking into adult.
Interesting.
The local reality. In 1973, Sheriff Henry McYeek, deputies, including a young Jim Wilson, had to investigate several grisly grave robberies and cattle mutilation reports in the rural parts of Williamson County. These reports of mutilation in the woods fueled the rumors that a disfigured man was living in the brush and killing people. Jim Wilson, as constable and later sheriff, Wilson was a collector of county history. He often spoke about how the 1973 hitchhiking scare was the most intense period of his early career. He investigated many tragic deaths of young people, but he often stated that the chainsaw part was pretty fictional. So he never knew about what happened with the men in black. He knew we were in the county. Well, we could go on and on. I mean, it goes back to the writer, Jessica.
Yes, I'm here.
Putting his spin on things.
Yeah.
Once deputized, it was Area 51 investigation. Only thing that Sheriff Henry McYeek did was deputize us. Jim Wilson was not part. Constable Jim Wilson, even though he knew of me, he was not part of the posse that found the body. Now, he did investigate the Orange Sox murder, but he is a constable. He's not a deputy sheriff. There's a difference.
Jimmy, so you said that who found the body? You're talking about Leatherface's body? Is that who you're talking about?
Well, we're talking about possibly Leatherface's brother.
Oh, his brother. Okay.
See, Leatherface is retarded, so is his younger brother. You have to remember, Leatherface is on the run. He's left Round Rock. He's headed north into cattle country to find work, to take refuge, because he knows the law's looking after him. And I believe that Leatherface had a younger brother. And I believe the younger brother was the severely retarded one that was wandering the fence line. You see, when you're taken into the Texas mental health system, that causes this. You can't share a medical history. There's possibility that his younger brother may be in the Texas insane asylum. we don't know that. The only thing that I recovered or we found was Leatherface. So we believe Leatherface had a younger brother who was a target person. And then we also believe that the Candyman murders in Houston, Texas are connected, that we believe they're some type of relatives. Of course, DNA test has never been done on Candyman or Leatherface.
Yes, this is definitely not my favorite subject, serial killers. I'm more into Bigfoot, Dogman stuff. But,
well, let me get back.
Terrible. That's terrible. Oh my gosh. I want to hear more about the MIBs, Jimmy.
I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Now, getting back to Linda Moulton Howe.
Okay.
So we laid her aside for a little while. Remember, she had made all the cattlemen mad at her. Talked about it, that she was going around, trying to get information for her book, Strange Harvest. And the Cattlemen Association didn't want any attention, You remember that? And we talked about it.
Yes.
In the prior podcast.
Yes. Now, this is actually kind of juicy, actually. This part. I wonder if Linda knows about this. Do you think Linda Moulton Howe knows about this, Jimmy?
Let me talk. You cut me off before I can get to my point here. Pull Linda Moulton Howe's picture back up.
Okay.
I know, but I'm trying to lead you into something here. Pull her picture back up of her by the cow there.
By the cow. Okay.
She's young, isn't she?
She's younger than she is today, for sure. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to pull up. I want you to go back to the red heifers you had up earlier. Talked about the red heifers. The Israelis are going to burn those cattle to death for ceremony.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Now I want you to go to Google Earth and type in Israel. Share the screen.
Okay, hold on. What do you want me to do, Jimmy?
Go to Google Earth.
Okay.
Type in Israel.
Let's see. Google Earth. All right, we'll go back to this one. Okay, tell me what to type in?
Google Earth.
Okay.
Type in Israel, excuse me.
Okay, Israel.
Close it, get down in there. Tighten it up. See the land. Get tight. Get closer. I can't see that far out. Nobody can. I want to see the terrain. Going in. I want to see this. No, don't.
Go back out.
Jessica, go in where I can see the terrain.
Okay, what part of the terrain do you want to see, Jimmy?
Go in anywhere, right. Just tighten it up.
Okay.
Tight. Get closer. Get closer. You see all that? You don't see anything there, do you?
It looks like dust.
There's no trees. There are no fields growing. It's kind of a desert that you're looking at, right? Would you agree with me? That's a desert you're looking at?
It looks like a desert. Yes. Yes.
They can't grow crops there now, can they?
No, it doesn't look like that.
Think they get all their food from?
Texas.
Thank
Probably
you.
Texas.
Okay. Now going back.
Okay.
Linda Moulton Howe.
Okay.
Going back.
Do you want me to pull up a picture of Linda?
I want you to pull up the lobotomy tools.
Okay. Now that is scary. All right, hold on one second. I've got a screen to share.
I want to see the hand tools. We got to get something better than that now. Do you see those instruments there?
Yes, I see them.
1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one from the top. Can you zero in on that? Let me tell you a little story about those lobotomy tools. Now, I told you that when Leatherface was in the cattle pen, and that he raised his hammer up, and I reached for my boot, and I said plausible deniability. Then I said a few days later they found Leatherface was wearing women's clothes underneath his shirt. Now, Israeli intelligence was in that part of the country. And when Linda Moulton Howe, and this is important, Jessica, whatever you do, better not screw up, because this is one and final warning. I'm gonna give you a real serious warning here. When Linda Moulton Howe was doing all the squawking, about the cattle and the aliens and all that, and I told you that she made some cattlemen mad at her. Now, and I'm real serious about what I'm going to say here now. Israeli intelligence said they met with us and they got real paranoid because, President Johnson had died about 7 months before Leatherface died. And see, when President Johnson was alive, the Israeli agents behaved themselves. But when President Johnson died, they thought they had they could do whatever they wanted, being in the United States, spying on everybody. So what happened was, and this is the true story, they told my intelligence officer, well, we're going to take Linda Moulton Howe. We don't like the idea that she's talking about the cattle. Well, see, you have to remember, they don't want anything to interfere with the cattle. That's where they get all their food from, the Israeli government. And here you have Linda Moulton Howe running her mouth. So what they were going to do, they had a guy they called the Angel of Death. And he had a leather bag. And he opened it up and unfolded it. And there was lobotomy tools similar to those, and they were rusty. And they had blood on them. In other words, they weren't sterilized. And this is what they were going to do to Linda Moulton Howe. Israeli intelligence was going to kidnap Linda Moulton Howe, and they were going to take that pick there, and right there, your eye closest to your nose there, and the tear duct. They're going to stick that ice pick into her eye. And they're going to take that hammer and hammer it into her skull to her brain, and then they're going to wiggle around and tear her lobe, her brain lobe. That's how you get a lobotomy. All right. Now, they also said, we asked them, said, well, what if you can't catch Linda? or you know, or you catch Linda and she's got somebody with her. You know what the Israeli agent said?
What'd they say?
He said, you see that he was on a ship about 20 miles out in the Gulf. Well, what is now the Gulf of America? Back then, it's Gulf of Mexico. He said this 55-gallon drum here is sitting on top of a fish cooker, and it's filled with muriatic acid. So they were going to say if they couldn't get to Linda and snatch Linda up, that if, in other words, there was any witness, they were going to grab Linda and the witness, and they were going to put her in a barrel of muriatic acid, and they were going to boil her flesh off her skin, and then they were going to take that barrel into the side of the ship and pour the remains off into the Gulf. In other words, it's perfectly legal. The Israeli intelligence was going to murder an American citizen because Linda was making them nervous about the cattle. See, you got to remember, Israel gets all their cattle from there. They also, like I said, they burn their cattle to death because it's a ritualistic ceremony. That's why I wanted you to get your attention tonight, but I didn't want you to, you know, I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to let you know before you do an investigation on cattle mutilation that your government cannot help you because Israeli intelligence watches the cattle very carefully to this day. And that they, like I said, they were going to either do a lobotomy on Linda Moulton Howe, or either they were going to put her in a vat of muriatic acid and boil the flesh off her bones and then pour her over the side of the ship into the Gulf.
Good grief.
Okay?
I'll take that down.
That's why I try to get your attention tonight, where when I'm talking, you know, I want to go slow and I don't want to rush all this. Okay? That's why I was kind of firm tonight with you. Now, do you have any questions that you need to ask me? Because I'm open to questions.
I do not have questions. I was looking in the audience to see if anybody had questions, but I don't think so. I think everybody's kind of grossed out with the lobotomy stuff. but yeah, that's really tragic. And I mean, I guess some people would say, well, maybe she was poking around where she shouldn't have been poking around, but like, you know, she's looking into UFOs and aliens and ETs and stuff. And what you're telling us tonight is that it was actually the U.S. government that was doing that, correct? I mean, MIBs are I want to say a faction of the military. I mean, what are MIBs classified as, Jimmy? Is this like part of the military, or is this some kind of black project under the U.S. government?
Paramilitary, you hear me?
Military? Okay.
Paramilitary. Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're technically technicians that work inside the industrial park. Now, back in 1972, 73 is when they had the security breach. When it was known. The security breach actually may have happened earlier than that, but we knew of it from reports. And like I said, all CIA, NSA, FBI, NSA, even Supreme Court judges, their personal data was compromised. The Russians had all the intelligence files on the agents, but they didn't have the intelligence files on the men, the MIBs inside the industrial park. There's only like about 14 of us that were field officers. And I think we had 3 working inside the park, because you had to have somebody inside the park running the communication rooms, the phones and everything. Those were reserved for the older MIBs or the MIBs who had medical issues that could not go outside the park. Now, when Leatherface was found, a helicopter landed and they put me in it and flew me back to Area 51. And that's how I made MIB, being the youngest man in the history of the MIBs. I'm the youngest man. It was the Leatherface case that skyrocketed me up as MIB. I was only 17, barely 17 when I made it. No one's made it any younger than me in the history of the MIB program.
Man, that's pretty cool. That's a lot of stuff going on, Jimmy. That's a lot of stuff going on. We do have a question actually in the chat. Let's see, where's Rain? Rain, ask Jimmy if he can give me the lowdown on where to go. Rain is going to be in this area, Jimmy. Is traveling to visit a grandchild, I believe, if I read that right in the chat. And I'm assuming you mean around, is it Red Rock? Is that the name of the place we were looking at earlier?
What is he asking? He's got to be more specific.
Yes, I'm not sure. Just where to go.
Wait, where
it's been a long time since you've been there. I think it's been a while since Jimmy's been there. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see.
Several locations. You got to ask me which location he's talking about.
I'm looking. Well, while we're waiting to see if Round Rock, it's Round Rock. Sorry, I said Red Rock. Round Rock, is there?
But he's buried. Round Rock. He's buried in Williamson County, across in the Williamson County Juvenile Detention Center in the woods there.
Okay. Did Carrie Ann wants to know, did Linda know she was being targeted?
No. This is the first broadcast that you're hearing as of right now. Linda Moulton Howe did not know that she was a target of Israeli intelligence and had every intention of either giving her a lobotomy or either boiling her in a vat of muriatic acid.
Oh, okay. Rain says, I'm asking Jimmy, where on Round Rock near Braunfels? Where on Round Rock near New Braunfels?
The Leatherface's house has been torn down. It's no longer there. He lived on the, I know he kind of lived in an area. There's some apartments built where his house is at now. There's some apartments built on where his house used to be located. See, it used to be rural. It's not rural no more. Yeah, Linda should be notified, but then again, Linda never knew how close she came to being attacked, and it was only because that they made the remark offhand. Because once we took Leatherface out, we could account for the cattle. Once we could account for the cattle, that calmed the Israeli intelligence down. I don't like having them in the country anyway, the Israelis, but that's exactly what they did then. And they're doing the same thing today. You know, we're in a war over in the Middle East because of them.
This is for entertainment purposes only, by the way. Okay, Kirian says, is the threat to Linda gone now?
No.
No.
Because
Jimmy says no.
When you're fooling around with Israel's, those cattle that they get in Texas is what feeds the entire country. And they're very sensitive. So I would advise Linda to keep her mouth closed.
Oh my gosh. Well, what about other researchers, Jimmy? Because like there's a lot of us out here who are boots on the ground field researchers and just stuff. And, you know, and I know there's a lot of people that I know that do what I do and they don't talk about it publicly because of these threats and stuff. There's a lot of threats out there. I mean, do you recommend that people just quit looking into paranormal happenings and stuff like that, or should we keep staying curious? What do you think?
I think you should still be curious, but you need to be aware that when you're doing cattle mutilation research, that the possibility of you being attacked is very high. It's not a good idea. I'm trained in all sorts of intelligence, you know, but this is what I ran into in Williamson County. See, Linda Moulton Howe is from I think she's from Albuquerque, New Mexico. All right. I'm not trying to blame any particular group. I do know that the Jewish faith, you know, is very widespread. But when you start looking at the cattle and everything, it made the Israelis nervous. You just don't upset the Jewish cattlemen that belong to the Cattlemen Association. And that's what she was doing.
Oh my gosh.
The reporting and everything. Go ahead.
I like what Joe says. We cannot live in fear. That's for sure. Hey, William. Yeah. Don't live in fear. I don't live in fear about stuff, but man, what a wild and up and down ride we've had tonight with all of this, Jimmy. Is there anything else you want to cover tonight?
I think that when you do cattle mutilation investigations, you need to keep your comments to yourself. You have all the facts in. And I think because Linda Moulton Howe was so young, you know, she raised a lot of questions up. I believe that's what made her the target. But she was not targeted by any government agency within the United States. She was being targeted by Israeli intelligence.
Yeah. Well, my goodness. Okay, so from now on, should we just assume? I mean, you said that the ETs and the humans are doing the cattle mutilations, but it's mostly humans, right?
Yeah. We allow the little race to take some cattle. We have an agreement with them. You have to remember our little grays, they watch the Russian little grays. So the Russians also have little grays. In fact, the Russians have they probably have 7 or 8 times more than we do. We just have a very small group of little grays. And Linda Moulton Howe, as I said, she was, you know, slinging all these theories around, you know, trying to either blame the little grays or she was trying to blame the men in black. The whole time, the men in black simply look. The men in black knew it, but we couldn't acknowledge it to Linda because it was a black ops operation.
Wow.
With the lasers and everything. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No. I mean, disclosure can be very dangerous. And our audience is very aware of that, I'm assuming. I mean, we talk about it pretty often. And, you know, there's a lot of friends that have been doing this with me and talking about our real life experiences. And like yourself, Jimmy, you know, a lot of people aren't here with us anymore. And I'm not saying it had anything to do with what we're talking about, but, you know, sometimes I wonder if some of the people who are gone today, you know, might have been affected negatively by opposing forces, not wanting this disclosure to come out like this. So, yeah. So thank you for sharing with us sharing with us tonight this information, because it's not very often we hear about Men in Black disclosure ever, except for when you come on the show. So thank you so much. And a lot of people are in here talking about James Rink. Yes, James Rink, a mutual friend of both Jimmy's and mine, and he is very much missed. And he was in the forefront of some of the super soldier disclosure as well. So yeah, Jimmy, you were a super soldier too.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a cloned human.
You're a cloned human.
Yeah. I admit that. I know I'm a clone. I simply went home because of what had happened to the other child. And that's how we live amongst the public. And there's a lot of people being cloned right now. A couple of your presidents have been cloned.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. See, it all goes back, Jessica. There's things about the ETs we're just not ready to go public with the ET disclosure. The cultures are so different, and particularly the different species and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the reptilians are more close to the royals over in England than they are to anybody at Area 51. Now, most of the reptilians that are over here are not that close to the Queen. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been covering cases where people are coming out talking about they've encountered shape-shifting people who look human, who are shape-shifting. I mean, like, it's coming out more and more every day, and I don't know if it's maybe a frequency shift. I don't know what's going on. Jimmy, do you have any explanation as to why people are seeing more, having like little glimpses of reptilian shapeshifters in everyday life?
I think because of cell phones having cameras on them, that we're able to capture a lot more of it now. The particularly just regular cameras are more digitalized. We're able to see it much more clear. I think it's been going on the whole time, but you have to remember something. When Germany lost World War II, now going back to Captain Joseph Mengele, Captain Joseph Mengele had over 1,500 reptilians in the medical camp. Okay, those reptilians were put to death. Captain Joseph Mengele knew that the royal family was reptilian, and our planet is occupied. We're under occupation right now.
Okay.
The United States government is not going to come to your rescue. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not coming to your rescue. The United Nations is not going to come to your rescue. Okay? They're not going to come to your rescue.
Yeah. I think that, Jimmy, I was going to say, I think Ronald Reagan said it best. The scariest words you can hear are, "I'm with the government and I'm here to help."
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of us want the government to come help. I'm just saying. This is for entertainment purposes only, y'all.
But you have these investigators, these like, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying people that you run into that, going to start investigating different things, and they don't realize what's going on around them. Okay? They don't realize that. And who cares if you blow a whistle? I don't it doesn't mean anything. Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. And yes, I think it should be investigated, but the way Linda Moulton Howe went about it, she came very close to finding a tub of acid.
Oh man, that's really scary. That sucks.
It is. It
Well,
is.
you know what? I don't live in fear. Here's what I tell people sometimes. I'm like, well, we're all gonna die. You know, like that's always my go-to answer when it comes to stuff. When people ask, aren't you scared for talking out? I'm like, well, I've died a million times. Okay. But anyways, I'm just glad that we're getting disclosure, and I think Linda has done a wonderful job of you know, being in that disclosure movement and stuff. So I'm proud of her, but it's also very dangerous. And she probably does need to be notified. Okay, somebody needs to let her know. I'm sure she knows she's in danger, Jimmy. We all do. We're all in danger to some degree, talking about this stuff. So,
well, even if they had killed her, it was not on our agenda to interfere. All we were doing was euthanizing the cattle that was diseased. Okay,
the tumor meat.
That falls
right.
under the FBI, and you see how the FBI did their job. You know, you have Israeli intelligence officers running around the United States doing this kind of stuff. And like I said, they got very bold and boding after President Johnson died. And like I said, that Texas is where they get all their food because they can't grow it in Israel, okay? And they're very dependent on the United States for their food. And also, they get their water from the sea. So let's just say that Iran takes out their desalination plant, their water plant, where they can't take seawater and make it into drinking water. They don't have no water to drink. Okay, there's a reason why that's a desert. It's not meant for anybody to live where they're living at. Okay, any disruption in the food or the water in the Middle East can cause very drastic die-offs in that part of the world. And so the question is, if you're going to do research, like I said, in cattle mutilation, you need to be very aware of, who is all about you.
Jimmy, I'm about to write my list down. No researching cattle mutilations. I'm sticking with Bigfoot, Jimmy. Okay, I'm sticking with Bigfoot and Dogman.
Well, investigate, but just don't make your findings public.
Well, I've actually been told that about the Bigfooting and the other stuff that I do. It's like, well, it's all good when you're doing it, but then it's when you go public, there's an issue. That's when you get on the radar. And there's a vested interest in keeping these things secret and private. But I don't know. I mean, I just covered on my show yesterday, former Congressman Matt Gaetz was talking about how he was briefed by a whistleblower on human alien hybrid breeding programs. Breeding? I thought that they just took like DNA from each, like he's talking about from kidnapped people and stuff. I'm talking about the caravans of people that were coming up illegally and stuff into the country, and they were taking those, kidnapping people from those and using them in these programs with actual aliens and stuff. I mean, so the disclosure is like leaps and bounds, in my opinion, from what it used to be decades ago. We're getting a disclosure dump right now, but it's still dangerous.
Dulce, New Mexico.
Dulce, yeah.
Dulce, excuse me. Clear my throat here. What's happening is they're bringing them into underground bases. It's like a feeding pen for them. See, just like Israel needs the cattle, well, the extraterrestrials there needs humans. They need to fill their stockyards up because they harvest humans. Okay. So yeah, I've been known about that for God knows, just for ages.
Wow. Well, we'll have to do a deep dive on Dulce because you were very good friends with Phil Schneider, correct?
I was with him in the underground cavern when he shot the 2 tall grays, and then the 3rd tall gray flashed his hand over his chest and it shot a beam out and hit Phil with some type of plasma weapon and injured Phil. Phil was gravely injured. I grabbed Phil and dragged him to the elevator, the miner's elevator, and we went up together. And then around 66 Special Forces, Green Beret, I believe, went down there and got wiped out. The aliens killed all the 66 very elite combat troops died in that shootout.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, we'll have to cover that sometime, Jimmy. You have to come back and we'll cover the Dulce base. And that's something I know the audience will be very interested in hearing more about that one.
Well, the Jeffrey Epstein files where the young girls were their eggs are being harvested and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them did birth, but most of them just their eggs are being harvested. That their DNA material was taken to that base to grow hybrid alien human clones.
Jay Trueseeker was asking about that. If you knew, thank you for being here, James. He was asking if you knew if there was any connection to like the Epstein stuff to that. So thank you for answering that.
There's a very, very deep and very disturbing connection of what's going on with the harvesting of the eggs. They're building part human and part alien clones, and they're horrible looking.
Jimmy, here's another question. I'm not going to say what you said, Jay Trueseeker. Let's just talk about missing persons clusters. We're going to leave it at that. Okay. There's a lot of people missing out of our national parks. Do you think that they're being taken for some of these experimentations and taken for the blood, like what we've talked about tonight? Because you said that the ETs they basically have to bathe in blood, right? And stuff. Do you think that maybe that's where some of these missing people are going?
Well, I can tell you my experience with the Predator over in Cambodia.
Okay.
Of course, if you watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator movie, there's some truth to it. Actually, it's based off of me, getting mud on my skin where the Predator could not see me. And it did have a low intensity some type of a weapon, a band on his arm where it blew up. I'm the one the story is made about. I've killed a couple of them. I killed one in a meat house in Chicago, but they showed it being killed in Los Angeles. And then I killed another one in Cambodia, but they show it being killed in South America with Arnold Schwarzenegger, in the movie. So I've killed. They're very hard to kill, but they're biological. You can kill them, but they're very hard.
Did you use a pew pew? How did you unalive it? We say unalive on YouTube, Jimmy. You can say whatever though. We've already said a lot of wild stuff tonight. How did it die?
Predator?
Yes. Is it a solid? Because it's like a glimmer man kind of, right? I mean, they're invisible. Are they biological or are they interdimensional or what?
Jessica, they're biological, but they have a cloaking device. Okay, they can cloak themselves electronically. All right, they can blend in into surrounding terrain, and you can see them, but it's difficult. It's just you can see it, but it's distorted a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
There was a plaster of one taken at Area 51, and they took a plaster of the face, and then they made a replica of it, and then they're able to. So what you saw in the movie Predator is a very detailed description of that alien, and he looks just like the one in the Predator, and they stink like rotten fish.
They smell bad.
Very bad. They're very strong. I had one beat me up. If you watch the movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger is being beaten, Arnold Schwarzenegger sounds like a little kid when he's being beat up. And that's actually how I was, taking the blows. It was not picking me up off my feet and, throwing me around like a rag dog. But I ended up getting to a ravine, and I had a tree that I cut. I had weakened the stump, and when I kicked the stick, the top of the tree fell on the creature and killed it. Well, seriously injured it.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Well, we're learning something every day. I always learn a whole lot when you come on the show, Jimmy. And I really do appreciate that. I appreciate you answering that. I know that we talked about that. I already knew the answer to that question. We talked about that the other day. Okay. But the audience didn't know. And so that's why I wanted to ask you that. And because my audience, we've covered creatures like the Predator before. And I've extensively talked about cloaking and creatures that cloak and cloaking technology and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's important that we talk about this from someone who knows. So thank you.
Well, the director of the movie Predator lives about 45 minutes from where I grew up.
Really?
And yeah, now E. Howard Hunt, E. Howard Hunt that worked for Central Intelligence Agency, he lived about 3 or 4 miles from where I grew up. Now, you may recall him as being one of the Watergate burglars, and he also was at the Texas School Book Depository when Lee Harvey Oswald fired the shot. He's one of the tramps that went through Dealey Plaza. Howard used to write novels and sell them under another pen name. So he called up the director of the movie that made the Predator. That guy, yes. The director lived in a little town called, I think it was I think it's Belzona, Mississippi, is where the director used to live. And they got him the CIA report, the classified report that was just blacked out, and then Howard filled in the blank spaces of it, and then the director of the Predator movie, filmed it. So it's soft disclosure. It's just,
soft disclosure. All these movies are. And you know what? We actually have Jerry here in the chat tonight. What's up, Jerry? Thank you for being here. He created the Predator drawing that you see in the 1987 Predator movie. And that's really cool. I always love it when you're here, Jerry. You got lots of good information. And you're part of history. Okay. So thank you for being here. That's pretty cool. Man. Oh my gosh, Jimmy. This has been a pretty fantastic show tonight. I do appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to cover before we go tonight?
Well, if anybody wants to research it, you can still go to James's website. I don't know how much longer it's going to be up. supersoldiertalk.com. And if you go to his search bar inside the his his podcast, and just type in Jimmy Paine, and out of the 400 interviews that he's done, 30 or so would pop up, and those 30 are the 30 interviews I did. And you can see about, I did a show on the predators before, and James covered it very good. If you want to do further research into predators or anything like that. I've got quite a few in there about the Philadelphia experiment, Montauk, Camp Hero, teleportation, interviews, and so forth. Just type in Jimmy Paine on the search bar, and that pulls up all of them in a row. See, if you don't do it that way, you never would get to the bottom of it. You see them all. You see how they all come up at once.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm on there with you in a couple of these.
You are. See, out of about 400 interviews, the 30 or so pops right up, and you don't have to dig through, because there's, like I said, it's just a vast library. Now, I don't know what's going to happen now that, who do you say is over that website now?
I don't know. I know Catherine and Melissa, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know for sure. I was thinking about the Facebook page. I'm actually thinking of the Facebook pages, his groups. So I'm not sure who's covering these, Jimmy. We'll have to find out.
Well, there, like I said, that's invaluable research. You have to be in these programs. You never would get to the bottom of it trying to, figure it out. I've done that all my life, go in and work these black ops projects, Now, I think Jeepers Creepers 2 is on YouTube, but I don't think James put Jeepers Creepers 2 in there, but I do know we have Jeepers Creepers 1. I think you have to type in Super Soldier Jimmy Paine on YouTube. You type in YouTube. You type in YouTube. If you type in Jimmy Paine, only a few come up. But if you type in Super Soldier Jimmy Paine, quite a few come up. But not all of them, quite a few come up. That's another, instead of sending off Freedom of Information reports, it's better just go to these old interviews, and you can get it that way.
Mm-hmm. And Rumble too. Thank you, Jerry. Rumble James Rink. Go to search James Rink on Rumble, y'all. He's got a Super Soldier Talk over there, and search Jimmy Paine there as well.
You can go to BitChute. BitChute's got a whole lot on me. If you just go to BitChute and type in Super Soldier Jimmy Paine. Now, Richard Bruce is the one that uploaded all the ones on BitChute. In fact, I need to get back with him. He's been very involved with this reptilian stuff. He's been, he's a street preacher out in LA, and he's right in the heart of all this reptilian stuff. He's probably one of the few. If you just type in Richard Bruce on Super Soul, you see. Well, type it in on YouTube, Richard Bruce. We'll see what comes up. Or either filmmaker Richard Bruce, probably filmmaker Richard Bruce. He's got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Let's see. I'll share my screen. We'll see if it comes up.
James has done interviews before. Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a lot.
Here it go.
He's on BitChute. He's got a lot on BitChute with me and James talking. I got some on Gab, and very little, but just a few on Brighteon, you know.
Oh yeah. Hi. Oh my gosh. Well, y'all go check out Super Soldier Talk and subscribe if you haven't subscribed over to James's channel. There's some of the best shows on there, and lots of disclosure, y'all. Lots of disclosure over there on YouTube and Rumble and wherever you can find it. And definitely look up Jimmy Paine on Super Soldier Talk and everywhere else. Everywhere else. Jimmy, this has been an interesting and fun show tonight. I appreciate you being here. And yeah, I pulled up a lot of maps tonight.
I think it's one of the more complicated shows I've done.
It was that's a good word for it, Jimmy.
Well, James and me would have probably done this, but you know, now that James is not here, and when you said you were going to do a little cattle investigation, that's why I wanted to go on and do it, because you can learn from what I've stated tonight, what you're up against, and that I wouldn't be surprised if some of these other researchers had been taken out by Israeli agents, but I definitely know they were trying to take Linda Moulton Howe out. Know that firsthand, because I sat there and talked to the Israeli agent. He sat there and told me what he's going to do to Linda.
Man. Yeah. Well, you know what? I always leave every show telling the audience, do not live in fear. You know, and if we want real disclosure, some of us have to take the risk sometimes to just put it out there and talk about it. And that's what we're doing tonight, Jimmy. And we're putting it out there. Yes, Joe, Jimmy put me to work tonight. That's right. It was all good. I wouldn't have it any other way. Y'all are so funny. We have a great chat. We have a wonderful audience, Jimmy. They're all fun. And I appreciate all the support tonight. Rain, thank you for that super sticker, by the way. That was very sweet of you. And I hope you have safe travels if you're going to be traveling over to Texas. Jimmy, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Texas. I mean, we talked about this last time you came on. I just recently covered another goat man sighting that was out there at I think it's the Lake Worth Monster, and lots of goat men and weird cryptid out there. A lot of dog man sightings and Bigfoots and stuff. It's just an area of high strangeness. I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with all the serial killers out there. And I don't know. I don't know. Is there something in the water? Why is there so much high strangeness out there, you think?
Well, you have a lot of military bases in Texas. Texas has got a lot of military bases. And you know, when Phil Schneider worked with the Boring Company, you know, he built underground bases. And, you know, they're probably connected all by now, you know, underground, you know. Now I'm more closer to Folk, Arkansas. You've ever heard of the Folk Monster?
Folk Monster, of course.
Well, I'm not that far from that area where that Bigfoot's been running around in that swamp. I've been through that area. I live real close to the river system and all the streams, you know. But when you go to the west of me and into the south, you know, you run into a lot of wooded area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Mississippi militia has been down there towards Stennis Space Center down in
Stennis Center,
Hancock County, and over there at the edge of Hancock County is nothing but swamp. You know, that's where they test the space engines at, the motors and everything.
Oh wow, cool.
Mississippi militia has been all back up in there. They've been investigating reports of FEMA camps, but they hadn't confirmed anything. But yeah, there's quite a few FEMA camps around that you need to be aware of when they start to round up everybody.
Oh gosh, I hope that doesn't ever happen. I don't need to get round up. That's like going back to what Ronald Reagan said. I'm here with the government and I'm here to help, or whatever, no, thank you.
One question up to give me the lowdown on the best hidden places to go in north of San Antonio, Texas. I've been down to San Antonio. I spent a summer down there when I was pretty young. I would head to Arkansas. I would head towards Arkansas, Folk, Arkansas. I mean, if a cryptid can hide down there, you can too.
That's right. That's right. Jimmy, you'd fit right in with them Bigfoots out there. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Crops and water. Don't go to
a swamp.
Yeah, go to a swamp. There's water and there's frogs and fish and birds. You can hide in a swamp. In fact, I was raised. I've hunted swamps when I was younger.
Yeah. Swamps are fun as long as you get on your snake boots, your snake chaps.
And there's one question up that says, knowledge is power, learn all before it's deleted. That's a very good statement.
Sassy Scarlet. That's so sweet. Yes, that's true. Learn it before it's deleted. Get your hard copy books, y'all. Hard copy. Print everything out. Right? Print out. Get your ink and your paper.
You have to remember, if the highway system's damaged, you're not going to have trucks run down the interstate. It's best to go live close to a river or a creek where you can get in a boat and move about, because that's going to be the transportation.
Oh, yeah. Rain says, map. Damn, Jimmy, I live in the swamp. I'm in Southwest Louisiana by Cameron, Louisiana. Oh, my gosh.
As long as you're in a swamp, as long as you're near a river, you're doing good.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about what the specialists tell you. The specialists probably be the first ones that get taken out.
Angelique, that's a good point. You know what? That's the only thing that I got when my grandparents passed away. I didn't get nothing except for they had left their house. All the stuff that was left over, nobody wanted, I got, and it was all their books because that's what I wanted, actually. And I have a whole collection of all these very, very old, centuries old books, and that was the best thing I could have ever gotten from my grandparents. And I treasure those. Nobody else wanted their books, and I ended up getting them. And I will treasure those for the rest of my life, and I'll be passing those down to my son. Some of them are behind me, actually. I never throw away books.
Get you medical books, simple medical books that shows pictures, just real
survival
basic.
too.
And get you a good fishing box and some good fishing equipment. Don't go high tech, go low tech. Get you some topo maps, and particularly maps. Yeah. Get you, get maps of all railroads and all streams, creeks and streams. Because that's how the Viet Cong moved about in Vietnam. They got into the canal system, and that's how they moved around. I mean, that's what I did in Vietnam was get on a PBR and go up and down the canals looking for Viet Cong.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Keep books. Keep the books. Keep the good ones. Any kind of plant books. My go-to is like somebody else. Medicinal garden books, Angelique. That's right. Cookbooks are good. And I love cookbooks. But any kind of plants, any kind of survival, any kind of medicinal, all that. Save those. Save those for sure. And our history. I don't know. I think our history books are all lies. I don't care how far back you go. I think a lot of them was just love. But anyways, but it's good to have those. It's good to have them too.
Let
May
me
not be
say
here one day.
this. Let me say this, particularly to the females that are listening tonight. Now, if you shoot a deer, you have to have a place to store the meat. The meat will go bad. And then a lot of women can't skin a deer. They're not physically able to hoist it up and skin it. And there's something I want everyone to remember tonight. When you fire a weapon, people can hear it for miles around. Go buy you a pellet rifle, a low-tech pellet rifle, not an electric one, the one you pump up, a 177 pellet rifle, and get you a good scope. Because you can eat birds, you can shoot birds, you can shoot rabbits with pellet rifles, squirrels, and it doesn't make noise. You don't want people to hear when you shoot a weapon. So go for the small game. Understood? Now you're gonna have people tell you get a high-powered rifle. Well, if you can't eat the meat, it's wasted.
That's true.
And everybody's going to hear you when you shoot the weapon.
I mean, I my go-to would be a 22 with a suppressor, but I'm just saying, that's just me.
Well, yeah, that's good too, but I'm saying it probably wouldn't hurt a 22 and a
pellet gun.
7 pellet, yeah, because you don't want to make any noise. People, when I was in Laos, I witnessed cannibalism firsthand.
Oof.
Now, Colonel Kurtz, the colonel that is in the movie Apocalypse Now, it shows them cutting the heads off. But what it was, there was cannibals in the jungle, and he would cut the heads off and put them on stakes, and that scared the cannibals away.
Dang.
Yeah.
So it's like Vlad.
I've witnessed cannibalism firsthand. And you're living in a very dangerous society. If any type of nuclear weapon goes off or EMP, you can bet you'll be hunted, and maybe hunted for cannibalism.
Well, learn how to fight, y'all. Everybody get in shape. Get in shape. Get your weapons ready. Just in case. Just in case. We got the whole universe is against us, it feels like. Humanity. I don't know, but I still keep hope. Everything's gonna be fine. And yeah, I'm gonna go out swinging no matter what, Jimmy. Okay. Oh man, thank you for the advice, Jimmy. And I think it's great. We do need to be prepared for whatever comes. And yeah, in the meantime, have fun, y'all. Go out and enjoy life. We talk about some really dense stuff and the darker side of things sometimes, but still go out and have fun. I don't even turn the news on at all, Jimmy. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to anything. I don't listen to all that low vibe news stuff anymore. I just, it drives me crazy. If we sat in that all day, So, but anyways, this has been awesome, Jimmy. I guess you know what? We're at about the 3-hour mark, just about. So, and I got to get my kid to bed. He's got school tomorrow, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I always have fun talking to you, Jimmy. Will you come back and hang out with me sometime? Maybe let's talk about Dulce next time, or something.
I think we could talk about Dulce, and we may get the Resident Evil movie, the first one. I knew Alice, the girl that was in the movie, the real Alice. And I have been in underground base, and I have used the train that is in the movie. I think that would be a very interesting one. We may be able to tie it into the Jeffrey Epstein files and what's going on with the harvesting of the eggs being experimented on. And see, it goes back to Israeli intelligence, running that show. You know, you have Israeli intelligence running all over the United States, and CIA can't do anything about it, nor can the MIBs, because we're bound by the law. We can't spy on Americans, but because I was a pass-through agency, the Williamson County Sheriff's Department, I was able to, get out, but I'm very limited in what I can do.
Oh man, Jimmy, I did not know this, but I am news to some of the. Joe, I'm your news. Oh my gosh, I better straighten up then. If I'm gonna be, people are getting their news from me. I better get a little more serious, man. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. It's very sweet.
Well, James is gone now, so I guess maybe you can take up where he left off, and maybe the super soldiers can regroup, to some degree. I just don't know about who's running his website. I don't know. I don't know what's going to become of it, because that's one of the only sites that I knew of. Do you know of any other than James?
I'll have to do some calling around, finding out who's running his websites and stuff, because I don't know, Jimmy. I have no idea. But I know there's a big super soldier community though, and there's a lot of super soldiers out there, and they've got a pretty strong community, and so we'll have to tap into that a little bit more. And
I think it would be good.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I think they're trying to regroup. I just don't know how they're going to regroup, because I'm kind of out of the loop, and you're somewhat out. I think it's possible they could regroup, but
yeah.
But it's good of you to step in and kind of break and add some of the super soldier stuff into your podcast, and try to carry on some of it. We may have to just kind of skid along for a while.
Yeah. Well, my specialty are cryptids. And but I've always, it's all connected, Jimmy. It's all connected. And so that's why I've always made it a point to, partner up with James, and it just worked. It's just natural. Bringing it over to the super soldier, and plus with my remote viewing and stuff, that's where the real connections lie, is being able to remote view some of their encounters and their memories and stuff. It works.
Well,
it works.
Well, I go back when Thomas Costello was investigating the base in Dulce, New Mexico. Him being coming up missing, and what I saw down that base is very, very, very troublesome. Because this is a base that is co-shared between the government and the ETs, and apparently the government is, not really in control anymore.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, let's. Do you have any final thoughts tonight? Anything to leave the audience with?
Well, I enjoyed tonight. This has been a very difficult podcast on Leatherface, because it's just a very difficult X-file. I try to cover it as best way I can, but you have to remember that happened in 73, so we're talking 53 or so years ago, and going with it by just memory without the X-file being in front of me, and then we throw the Epstein case on top of that, and that's what's troublesome here. Now, I'm looking for a corporate sponsor, so if anybody needs to get a hold of me, Let it go with Jessica, and then I will talk to the corporate sponsor. I do not do interviews one-on-one. I will not meet with you. What I do tonight is basically how I communicate. I do not take any donations. I'm not writing a book. If I've talked about films, it's because there was films made about me without my permission. I'm not here to come to your group or stand up in front of an auditorium and give a lecture. I'm not like that. But I am looking for a corporate sponsor. And if anybody needs to get a hold of me, just get over Jessica. Now, I'm not associated with Jessica. I'm just a guest on her podcast. And she's being gracious tonight, picking up and hosting this, and trying to hold things together till Secret Soldiers regroup.
Try to. Yes. We're doing a pretty good job, Jimmy. We're wading in the water. We're keeping afloat. We're keeping it afloat for now. And I think it's so important because we have such a disclosure dump going on right now. And I think it's great that you share your expertise, your wisdom with us and all your encounters. And yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I never in a million years thought I'd be talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Leatherface and stuff. And I like switching it up and talking about this kind of stuff occasionally. But however, I would much rather encounter Bigfoot than a man wearing someone's skin with a chainsaw. I'm just saying. I'd rather encounter 5 dog men, I think, than that. So I don't know though. I could probably, I don't know. See, I think in terms of like, could I take somebody like that on? Could my firearm stop them? Yes, probably. Okay. But anyways, it's always fun having you here, Jimmy. So please take care, Jimmy, and come back and see me. Okay. And yeah, we're gonna do another show, y'all. We'll do another show here in the future. And yeah. I want to thank everybody before we go tonight. Okay, let me go down the list. Steve Wolf, I got your PayPal. That was very sweet of you. Thank you for sending me that. And let's see. Rain, thank you for the super sticker. Amy, thank you for gifting 10 Cryptid Huntress memberships tonight. That is so sweet. Rose Thistle Artworks, thank you for gifting 10 Cryptid Huntress memberships. Y'all, that's 20. That's a lot of people. Thank y'all. And Firewater by Design member for 16 months. Thank you so much. And for that super sticker. War Criminal Matt, thank you so much for the super sticker. And Moon at Noon, thank you for the super sticker. And OU812KA, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate y'all so much. And yeah, I'll be back here on Saturday night. Y'all come see me. We will be on the hunt, 10 p.m. live Saturday night. Same time, same place. So y'all come see me. And I'm tired. I got to go get my kid to bed, y'all. Y'all have a great night, okay? And Jimmy, thank you again for being here. Thank you so much. Absolutely. All right. Please stay safe out there, y'all. Don't live in fear, okay? Somebody needs to tell Linda, okay? Linda, listen, Linda, okay? We need to tell Linda. But I think Linda knows, y'all, because any of us that are in this public sector of disclosure, we all know there's a real threat always, okay? And but if we sit around worrying about these threats all the time, we won't have any disclosure, okay? But anyways, y'all have a wonderful night. I love all y'all, okay? And I'll see you guys back here on Saturday. All right, everybody. And sweet dreams. Take care. Bye, y'all. See you, Jimmy.